Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome you all to another random rambling of mine. Well, it's not that random, is it? It's usually every Friday or Saturday, so it's fairly on the money. But you know what I mean, and welcome to you all. I've had a week of, as you'll notice from the channel, not doing any game recordings or Let's Plays, and I've been thoroughly enjoying doing a little bit of gym and then coming home, and I have leathered Sleeping Dogs, which Definitive Edition, which I've had. I spoke about it in my vlog last week that I'd started playing it, and I've absolutely loved just getting stuck into a game just for the love of playing the game. And it's been ages and ages and ages since I've done it. I think the last time I tried to do it was with Prey off camera, but because I was doing so much on camera, I didn't really find the consistency in time to sink my teeth into Prey as much as I wanted to, and it ended up dwindling away. So it's been really nice to sort of find my love for just getting into a game again. And you know, I love you guys. I love doing the channel. Don't don't take it the wrong way or anything. But it's quite the thing to find yourself falling out of love with something that you love, because you're feeling pressures with it in order to do it at specific times when you feel up to it, and do it on camera and be fun. And so to just be able to throw myself into something that was just fun and had loads to hunt for and do a good story, it's just been really nice. And I went out of my way to solve all the cases, to do all the events, to get all the statues, all this sort of stuff. So it's been really, really good fun. I've still got the story to finish off and a few other bits to do. I'm not going to platinum it because there's bits I don't want to do, which is sort of go around betting on cockfights. Thank you. And that sort of thing. You know where I'm coming from, people. So yeah, so I've got the story to complete, and then I'm really, really tempted off camera to do GTA. My son bought me GTA Grand Theft Auto 5 long time ago, and it's been sat there for the PS4, and I played it for a little bit, loved the intro, started getting into it, and then it just tailed off for whatever reason at the time. So it's really given me a want to go and do that again. And I think the reason I tailed off of it last time is because I felt like going straight from Sleeping Dogs to it, I kind of missed the martial arts and stuff. But I don't know, it might just have been that point in time. So quite tempted with that. Along with, and this isn't what the vlog's about, but I'll throw it in anyway. Along with Mafia 3, which I just got for about $6.99, I think it was, from, is it Go-To Games? Something like that. I've just randomly stumbled across this website when I was looking at Easter offers, and I got that for $6.99. And it's got a mega enhancement for the Xbox One X, so I thought, well, I'm going to give that a go. I was looking at some of the gameplay footage of it. It looks absolutely awesome. So it's very, you know, I haven't played any of the Mafia games before. Mafia 3, it's on the PS4 as well, but I thought with having the X, I might as well try and see what the X improvements are like. And I also picked up for, I think, about £4 or £5, Homefront: The Revolution, which is a first-person sort of action-y type thing. And it was just one of those. I mean, I've never been that curious about it, but I stumbled across it. I thought, hey, what the hell, I'll give it a go. I know the company that made that went into administration, sadly, because it didn't do overly well. But anyway, I thought I would give it a little go. So that was 2 purchases for about £10, £11, something like that. And the Easter sales are still in the cellophane. They only arrived today. So well chuffed with those, but I'm looking forward to Mafia 3 certainly, and maybe GTA, and I've got so many games sat there that I haven't played, it's just ridiculous. Another one that I might not jump straight to a game like Mafia 3 or GTA, I might jump into something like Deus Ex, which has been sat there, and I only did like an hour of it for the channel at one point. I've never played it properly. I've got so many games down there, I'm not going to rattle them off to you that I haven't played, but all for the same reason, because I just don't get the time to play them when I'm hammering the channel as heavily as I have been in the spare time that I have. So it's been nice to get stuck into that. But I will get back into doing some regular recordings, so don't worry about that. I'm just having a little breather, people, a little breather. And I will continue to do my vlogs, at least if I don't manage to get some recordings in through the week. So this week, although I have actually been keeping my eye on what's been happening on IGN and other people's vlogs and stuff like that, and what's been happening in the industry. And so this vlog really is what I've kind of picked up on with what's been announced and what's been going on. And I have on my telephone machine a few notes here, but we're going to kick off with something we knew was already coming, and it was Dark Souls Remaster. Now, the Dark Souls Remaster, there was I think Jason was kind of concerned about what he'd seen with the gameplay and stuff. From what I saw from Digital Foundry's comparison, now I'm not sure, people, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I can't grab someone else's comparison video and put it up behind me. So I'll have a little think about that. It's got going on in my head. So there'll be something behind me. I will try and find some footage of the remastered gameplay because there's plenty of people up that have got it, and I'll maybe do a some reference to their site or something if I grab it. But I'll try and put some footage behind me so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. But actually, I was quite impressed with it because they haven't gone with the concept of let's shove the first game into Dark Souls 3's engine and make it look exactly like that and play like that, because I think the hardcore players of Dark Souls would want to keep what Dark Souls was, and I think it's a very dangerous game to play doing a remaster and then it not being a remaster and actually being a complete remake. I mean, that's a completely different thing altogether. And this was always a remaster. It was never a remake. So I kind of get why they've gone with the way they've gone, and I from what I was looking at in this footage, which I'm hoping to show you while I'm talking, I was actually really impressed. And that they've kind of, with most remasters, they do the same thing. They try and give you better backdrop visuals, better grass, better, all the things much crisper, much cleaner, better shadowing, better lighting. They were showing off the sort of smoke when you walk through the doors. It looks awesome in comparison to what it was sort of flat like in the old version. And I mean, all right, it does play relatively well on the version that I've been playing on the Let's Play on the Xbox One back compat, and I've been really impressed with the way that it's played. However, the new version is, if you play it, let me get this right now, I think, if you play it at 1080p, you'll get it at 60 frames per second. If you play it at 4K, you get it at 30 frames per second. I think that's the way that they've done it. So, and they're solid frame rates as well. They're not, they're not jibbing about all over the place. So, I was really impressed with the footage that I was watching. I think the only prerequisite to that is that what we're seeing, like, we haven't seen the worst areas yet. So, and I'm forgetting the name of the town, and you'll all be screaming it at the screen. But the bit where you go all the way down, it's the famous town that caused all sorts of frame rate issues. But that area has not been seen yet, so we don't know what the worst areas are going to be like yet. But from everything that's been shown and from heavy bits we've seen, the boss fights and what have you, there was no dips or anything. So the frame rates are very solid at 1080p 60 and very solid at 4K 30. So I'm really chuffed with that. And the visuals did look significantly better, in my opinion, when I was seeing the comparison that Digital Foundry did with the amount of gameplay they were allowed to show. So I was really, really, really impressed with it. I mean, I think, going to pre-order that without any doubt, because it's not full price anyway. It's only $26.99 or whatever. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, actually. And I'm as I said last time, and I know Jason was kind of hinting that maybe I should carry on with the Let's Play I'm doing, but I still think people are going to want me to show a bit of Dark Souls. Have I said Dead Souls more than once today? A bit more of Dark Souls on the Xbox One X. Well, I think I'm going to... You see, I'm a bit torn, actually. Maybe you guys can help me. But the rest of the stuff I have from Software is all on PS4. And obviously, the only reason I was playing it on the Xbox was because it was a back compat thing, the first one. So... And I can't, you can't play that on the first one, I don't think, unless they've got it on their streaming service. But so there was a bit of me that was tempted to actually get it for the PS4 Pro instead of the Xbox One X. But I'm happy either way. Maybe showing it on the X might be a better thing to do. I think there's more people showing stuff off on Pro or PS4 than there is on Xbox One X, I think, at the moment, which is why a lot of my videos are quite popular when I show new stuff. So I'm really looking forward to showing it off. So anyway, I think I will pre-order it. I think I may not I might do a couple more episodes on the one that I'm on, or you know, it depends what takes me fancy really. But I think I'm gonna do a run from the beginning in the version anyway and see what it's like. But I've been really impressed with what I've seen, so yeah, really looking forward to that. Now it's getting quite interesting now because we're starting to get to a point where I think game developers who were wanting to release this year don't want to do it too early because they're not quite ready, but don't want to wait and have to compete with Red Dead Redemption. So we seem to be getting an awful lot of people pushing stuff out in September all of a sudden. I say an awful lot. It's 2. Well, 3 actually, if you count the third one I will talk about. But we already knew from a week or 2 weeks ago that Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it was at the launch of the movie of Tomb Raider, that Shadow of the Tomb Raider was going to come out in September. And where was limited footage of it. Looked really cool. I think there was a clip of Lara standing with the shorts on and the guns. So we look like we're sort of progressing toward a Lara Croft that we know from an experienced Lara Croft rather than from one at the beginning, which is quite cool. And they obviously timed it in with the movie to bring everything together. I was a bit disappointed, just that I'm not going to talk about the movie much. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I was a bit disappointed that the film kind of went with the story of the first one, but left out all of the magical stuff. It was all a bit like, you got to, like when you get to the end and the thing, it's kind of like, is that it? Like, I mean, she was brilliant. The action pieces were brilliant. The story concept and stuff was great because it was the same as the game. So everything was great and I loved watching it. It was fine, but I thought that the story, the way it was done in the game, was far, far better. Far better. I mean, it was much more wow than the movie was, so far as the story went. So I was a bit disappointed that they didn't stick and just use the story from the game, to be honest with you. It would have been good to see that just happen. But it's a good film, though, if you've not seen it. It's well worth a watch. And she was great. Boobs aside, people. The amount of people that said the film was shit because she didn't have big enough boobs was outrageous, people. She looks gorgeous in it. She's absolutely brilliant. She's an absolute animal as well. Like, proper, like, worked out for that movie. She looks fantastic. She's gorgeous. So, yeah, I'm hoping she gets to do a few more of them. But I hope they kind of pick the stories up to be a bit more wow than the way that they doled that story down. That was all. So they're launching that in September, and then Red Dead Redemption is coming in October. So you've got Tomb Raider, which actually I think the first one was quite nice because it kind of stood on its own. And as far as I remember, I don't think there was anything in the first game, and I've played it loads of times, so it's really bad if I can't remember this or I've forgotten. But I'm pretty sure this whole Trinity thing, pretty sure that's what they were called, wasn't it? Trinity, the big bad that came out of the woodwork, who are Trinity, and she's got to combat against them. Well, that wasn't in the first game. It was kind of self-contained. And then at the sort of through the whole of the second game, this whole big bad of Trinity came out, and then they've obviously got the last one coming out as well. I'm saying Trinity, and I keep thinking as I'm saying it, it's not right. But anyway, you know what I mean? This sort of massive big bad that she's got to combat against. And I'm not overly sure that the games needed it, you know? I think, from remembering the old ones, you know, there was always someone, you know, battling to get the goods before she did, sort of thing. But I don't think we needed some sort of big global thing to carry it to make it that exciting. You know, I think the excitement with Lara was always, you know, the journey, the exploration, the discovery. And in the old ones, it wasn't even really about the action, much as though it was really cool when you got some. And it was always a big wow when you got some action, because you've been climbing around for 20 minutes and trying to solve puzzles for an hour. So when the action came along, it was a bit of a novelty. But with the new ones, I get why they went that way. And I get that a lot of people wouldn't have sunk their teeth into something that was difficult to figure out. I mean, some of the old puzzles were well hard. You know, it was like, it's no wonder people got fed up and just put the thing down. But so I've loved both Tomb Raider games. I still think that the second one, I haven't played the first. I played a bit of the first one on the Xbox, I think, just for the random fact it was free at one point. But they definitely, that second game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, still plays better on the Pro than it does on, or the PS4 than it does on the X even. They never quite patched that game properly, and it's still got screen tearing all the way through. I've talked about it in another vlog. So I'm very tempted to get the third part of that for the PS4. So that's coming in September. And then just the other day, we got the announcement that Spiderman PS4, or Spiderman, they're actually calling it Spiderman PS4, I don't know. But Spiderman for the PS4 is coming out in September as well, around the same time. And that's like a pretty massive, that was a pretty massive sort of thing to announce. I would have thought, there was a part of me thought they would hold off until E3 to just go, bam, here's Spider-Man, have it, you know. But they seem to just be announcing these things to prep up for E3 more than they are anything else. I'm really, really stoked for that game, because you've got a team from Insomniac who are just legendary at making great platformers and action platformers. I think the last thing Insomniac did, were they the ones that did the it was kind of a platformer for the Xbox, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that was Insomniac. I've got it here somewhere. I'm forgetting the name of it. Someone will be sure. Sunset Overdrive. I'm pretty sure that was Insomniac. But they used to be very orientated toward the PlayStation. But anyway, they obviously cracked this deal with Sony, because Sony have the rights to Spider-Man as a franchise. So they were able to just say, right, fine, here's the rights. We're not going to, you know, charge stupid money for the film. Whenever someone tries to do something based on a film, the money just gets stupid. This is why the Batman games were so good, because they were based on comics. And so all they needed to do was get the comic rights to make those. So they weren't infringing on anything to do with the films. And this seems to be what they've been able to do with the Spider-Man game as well, which is why a great studio like Insomniac is going to get their teeth into it. And from everything we've seen, it just looks amazing. The gameplay, obviously the set pieces look fantastic, but the gameplay, from what you can see from in flipping through the air, and this is a Spider-Man that's already an Uber Spider-Man. We're not having to do the whole Origins thing, from what we're told. He's already well into being a Spider-Man. So there's none of this, you know, I got bit by a spider and then 6 hours leveling up. So you've got, you know, this sort of uberness about you, much like you did with the Batman games, where you just crack into it. So, and there was all sorts of action scenes, and the way that he swings through the buildings and goes into the buildings and through them and then swings out the other side, I mean, it just looks extraordinary. It looks really good, and it looks like they've put a really good story behind it as well. And from the voice acting and stuff we heard, looks fantastic. So I'm uber stoked about that. That is a massive title, along with Tomb Raider, to be coming out in September. And then, along with that, which is less sort of Uber, but the whole Spyro the Dragon thing hit the tinterwebs yesterday. It kind of got leaked, and then they announced it, I think, because it got leaked anyway. The trilogy of the original Spyro games has been redone and remastered for the PS4, I think, and for the Xbox as well, I think. So it's not just tied to the PS4. And so far as I can remember, I thought Spyro was only on the PlayStation stuff originally, but I could be wrong about that. So it's interesting that it's on both platforms. And not sure about Switch. It's possible. It's possible it'll be coming to Switch, but maybe not at the same time. But yeah, I mean, they're some cracking games, especially if you've got kids. I mean, they're fantastic games. I mean, even a big kid like me loves that sort of stuff. And they were fun games. I think it's Spyro Reignited, I think it's called, something like that. Spyro Trilogy Reignited. And I don't think we've got any footage yet or anything like that. There was, I think, a poster that was put up. But so there's already, like, we've not even got that close to E3 yet. And there's already, like, a whole bunch of stuff starting to get announced and thrown out. And I think, as I say, with Spyro, I think a lot of it was because it got leaked and they thought, well, we better just say it anyway. And then, of course, coming into October, which, I mean, if anyone releases a game in October, they'll probably be completely mental going up against Red Dead Redemption. The only people I can see possibly going up against them might be like a Call of Duty game or something, because they normally release a game around that time, or in November maybe. Or even the football ones, which aren't they're not really competing, because it's a completely different thing, isn't it? Completely different animal. But you usually get the football and it is usually the football or soccer in this country, and the Call of Duty games at that time of year. So they possibly want to go for an October launch. But I think it's quite clear that people want to hit customers before Red Dead Redemption comes out, because it's going to be so massive. So it'll be interesting. It's already looking like a really interesting year. And of course, we've already got, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, God of War coming out this month. I think it's the 20th. And I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but it is like the one game in a really long time that I'm thinking about pre-ordering and paying full whack for. And I'm a little bit annoyed that the game prices have gone up recently, because they are consistently now at £44 to £46 at launch, which for my liking's a little bit much. You know, for the profit margin they make on these things, they make a bloody fortune on these games when they sell well. I realise that the price was fixed at it was fixed at 40 quid for a very long time, 39.99. But, you know, that was a massive hike. I mean, like, if you've got a lot of games in a year, it's a lot of money, like an extra £6-7. They could have put it at like £42 or something, or 41.99, and made an extra couple of quid each game. But all you're doing really is, if someone's unsure, they're just going to hold off until you sell it cheaper, you know. So it's, for my liking, it's just it's a bogus way of trying to get more money out of your games when you launch them. You're almost better keeping them at a lower price and saying, we're that confident we're going to sell enough copies that we don't need to charge you an extra £6-7. But I've never quite understood the concept behind that. You know, it's almost like they just want to keep shareholders happy now, and they just do stuff to keep shareholders happy. Much like the purchasing in games, you know, or the online features that nobody wanted in a one-player game. You know, it's like, it's all to keep suits and shareholders happy who probably never played a game in their life. Hey, I'm just an old cynic, people. I don't know, eh? So yeah, I loved Red Dead Redemption. I played it well after the event, and although I've never got into GTA properly, who knows, maybe I'll get into GTA 5 this time around when I try it. But when I played Red Dead Redemption finally on the PS3, which was, it must have been a good 3 years after Red Dead Redemption came out, and I was totally... I've been talking that long, that tasted 3 times better than normal, people. So there you are. So I think Red Dead Redemption, I'm hoping that I'll have been able to throw footage up behind me of all of these things I'm talking about, and I think I've covered everything there. Now, the one last thing I wanted to talk about, I saw just today, in fact, and it's a bit of news that's crept me by, but I was watching Boogie2988, his vlog, and he was talking about some leak or something that somebody's got from some website somewhere, that they reckoned that PS5 was going to get announced at E3. Now, I would be absolutely gobsmacked if that happened, because there is no reason for PlayStation to do that. There's no reason for Sony to be worried that they need to push out a PS5 right now. I mean, they're still selling millions of PS4 Pro, well, PS4s and PS4 Pros. Well, are they Slims now? I think they're called PS4 Slims and Pros. And the amount of game sales going with them is massive. Their game lineup for the PS4 Pro is redonkulous. I mean, we just talked about 2 of them, God of War and Spiderman. Then you've got Days Gone, you've got Last of Us 2 coming out, and there's just so many like massive titles coming that, why do they need to launch a PS5? I mean, there's just no requirement for it at the moment. I mean, much as though I love to see new hardware as much as the next man, but I think, without any doubt, I think next year would be a better year to do it, because they won't have a lineup like they've got this year next year. There's no way. I mean, all right, Days Gone will probably go into next year. They've already said it won't be this year, I think. So Last of Us 2 doesn't look like it's happening this year unless something magnificent happens at E3. But when you've already had God of War and Spider-Man coming out in September, I don't see where they're going to throw The Last of Us 2 in. Because it just kind of takes the onus off it, really, as another sole title for the PS4. So yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand what the reasoning would be to be launching a PS5 at this point in time. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, all right, the Xbox One X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro, but you know, we're not talking by a gazillion miles or anything. You know, you're just talking about a bit of an uber increase in the, you know, true 4K as opposed to upscaled 4K and stuff like that. So, you know, but it's tiny stuff that you don't really notice that much. Says the man that buys everything that comes out immediately. If it's new hardware, people, I'll be buying it. It's shiny and it's new and it's, oh yes, thank you. So yeah, I would be very, very, very surprised if we see a PS5 this year. I'd still be surprised if we saw it next year, to be honest with you, but I would say it's far more likely to be E3 2019 than it is to be this year. But you know, you never know. I mean, you never know. There might be some grand marketing plan. You know, I mean, they were talking about the fact that the PS5 is going to be, it'll have a lot of elements of the virtual reality built into the console without having to have extra stuff plugged in and all this sort of stuff. And their virtual reality has been by far the biggest success out of all the others that have tried. So I think they've sold like 2 million units of the virtual reality headset. So I can kind of get it from that perspective if that's what it is they're trying to do. But if you're gonna launch a system that is a next gen system, proper next gen system, then you're going to have to up the hardware in it fairly significantly compared to the Pro even. So, and I don't know what the cost barriers of that are at the moment. I know they really pushed the bar out to get the Xbox One X at that price. So if you try to buy a PC with the same specs as that Xbox One X, you won't get it for that price. So I know they really pushed it to get that price for the Xbox One X at that power. So I don't see where the significant increase in power would come from without having a significant increase in cost. So, yeah, so I don't see it. I don't see it, but we've been surprised before, kind of. So, I mean, everyone said that what the Nintendo Do Next was going to fail and the Switch has been a monumental success. So you can never tell people as to what's going on behind closed doors. And there was whispers that some of the devs, I think the Witcher dev, who are working on Cyberpunk at the moment, they have a dev kit of what would be a PS5, because they apparently have already said that their Cyberpunk game won't be on the PS4 or the Xbox One, or even the X, I think. It will have to be the next-gen console for it. So they've already got those in place. But, you know, that game could be 2-3 years away, so, you know, that could mean nothing, really. So we'll see where we are, and I'm really getting excited for E3 now. With these games sort of starting to pop out of the woodwork, I mean, as I say, I'd be surprised if we see another Sony exclusive now that we've got God of War and Spiderman happening in the same year. We already know Days Gone's going to happen next year. I can't see The Last of Us 2 being this year, but maybe it'll be the big announcement at E3. We'll certainly see it at E3, but whether they give us a launch date, I don't know. There has been a bit of a trend with launches happening sort of February time or kicking into spring, so that'd be interesting if they give The Last of Us 2 sort of beginning of next year date. That wouldn't surprise me at all, in fact. So there you are. So there you are. There are my ramblings for today. I've been keeping my eye on the proverbial market, people, so I have. I'm going to ponder over the next week or so about God of War. It is my birthday at the end of the month, so I may well treat myself, people, because, you know, who else is going to if I don't? Well, you could all send me a copy. Go on. Go and buy me it and send me it through. Don't do that. It has been, as always, an honour and a privilege serving for you in this fine vlog of mine, if I do say so myself. Cheers to you all. And I will see you all next time. Take it easy, folks. Bye.